So come into the front end of your mat, standing in Tadasana. Looking straight ahead, open collarbones, just pulling up the kneecaps. You're going to inhale, looking up, push the hips forward if your back allows. Exhale, hands down, head down. Inhale, look up, bend the knees. Exhale, either step or jump back. Hold Chaturanga. As you inhale, just come forward on the toes, holding plank, and exhale, push back those heels, just opening out those calf muscles. Inhale, come forward again, and exhale, push back. Keep those glutes nice and tight. Inhale, come forward, shoulders away from the ears. Exhale, push back, zipping up that core. Inhale, forward, and exhale, push back. Come into Chaturanga, knees up or down. Then push forward and up. Roll over the toes, coming into down dog. Just gently bending that right knee, pushing that left heel to the mat. Breathe in to prepare. Exhale, reverse, bend left knee, push right heel to mat. In to prepare, exhale, change. In to prepare, exhale, change. And change, and change, and change. And then pushing both heels down, close to the mat as you can get. Pull up the kneecaps, push the ribcage towards the thighs, push the head in between, make sure your ears are in between both arms, and the ribs are connected so they're not flaring. Just shake out the neck. And then inhale, rise onto tiptoes, bend the knees, look up. Exhale, either step or jump. Straighten the legs, head down. Hold for a few breaths here. Breathing into the side and into the back of the ribs as you open out those hamstrings. Inhale, look up, lift those arms up. And exhale, bring the hands down. Breathe in again, arms up, hips forward. Exhale, hands down, head down. Inhale, bend the knees, look up. Exhale, step or jump. Hold your Chaturanga and gently lift that right foot a couple of inches off the floor, but make sure your shoulders don't move relative to your wrists, so you're not pulling back. And then gently down. And left leg, make sure you don't stick your butt out. You're not coming into down dog, and you're not sagging at the hips. And change. Right leg up. Keep the hips and pelvis absolutely still. And down. And left leg. Shoulders relative to the hands, absolutely in the same position. Release. One more time, right leg up. And down. And left leg up. And down. Chaturanga, knees up or down. Push forward into up dog, inhale. And exhale into down dog. Just a few breaths in down dog. And remind yourself each time you come into down dog to try to go a little deeper as the body starts to open out. Heels a little closer to the mat. Knees a little straighter. Back a little flatter. Spread those fingers wide, equal weight between thumb and little finger. Breathing in for a count of 3 through the nostrils. And out for a count of 3 through the nostrils. So drawing that chin slightly towards the throat. You can hear that breath. Then inhale, rise onto tiptoes, bend the knees, look up. Exhale, step or jump. Straighten the legs, head down. Again, just stay here for a few seconds. Make sure the weight isn't too far back in your heels, that you've got the weight equal between the big toe, little toe, middle of the back of the heel. Try to push the crown of the head a little closer to the mat and draw those shoulders back and away from the ears. Breathing into the sides and into the back of your ribs. And then inhale, look up, arms come up and gently back down. Breathing in. Looking up, hips forward if your back allows it. Exhale, hands down, head down. Inhale, bend the knees, look up. Exhale, step or jump. Hold your Chaturanga, bring your left hand into the midline, turn to the right. Right arm up in the air, come into Vasisthasana. Lifting those hips up nice and high. You could hold Vasisthasana, or you could take that top leg and put it behind you, the knee bend. And then turn the body towards the ceiling. So looking up towards the ceiling, and you reach that top arm back behind you. Into Wild Thing, Padottanasana pose. Gently release. Coming back to plank. Put the right hand into the midline, turn to the left if that left arm in the air. Again, you can hold the plank. If you want to make it easier, just drop that bottom knee down to the mat. If you want to take it up a little, take that top leg behind you, knee bent. And then turn the body towards the ceiling and reach that top arm back. Inhaling for 3 and exhaling for a count of 3. Gently come back to plank and into Chaturanga. Into down dog. Again, just a few breaths in down dog. So close the mouth, close the eyes, shoulders away from the ears, and focus on the breath. And really try to feel the expansion of your rib cage, the back of the body. It's like you're drawing the chin in towards the neck, so you can hear that breath. Inhaling for 3 and exhaling for 3 through the nostrils. Inhale, rise onto tiptoes, bend the knees, look up, exhale, step or jump. Straighten the legs, head down. Again, just spend a few seconds here. See if you can go a little deeper with the crown of the head a little closer to the mat than it was the time before. Again, make sure you're not leaning back too much into those heels, and pull those shoulders back and away from the ears. Two more breaths. And inhale, look up, and gently coming up to the ceiling and gently back down. One last time, breathing in, looking up, exhale, hands down, head down. Inhale, bend the knees, look up, exhale, step or jump. Chaturanga. Inhale into up dog and exhale into down dog. Looking up, you're going to step your right leg on the outside of the right hand. So you're going to, that right foot, you're going to just come onto the side of the foot. So you're going to drop this right knee out to the side, So your little toe is just off the floor, it's just on the floor, your big toe is off. So you're opening out this right knee to the side. So you're going to get that stretch around the glute area and lift the head up. Lift your chin up, and open your mouth, you can stick your tongue out. So a Savasana lion pose. Stretch your neck. Unless you've got any neck issues, you can look straight forward. And then take this right arm off and rotate your ribs to the right. So your foot is back, flat, sole of the foot flat on the floor. And take this right arm back behind you as far as you can. So you open out the chest and shoulders on that right hand side. Look towards the ceiling. Inhaling for 3. Now see if you can rotate a little more. Drop that right arm right back a little more. Now, keep breathing. Your left hand is not going to move. The hand that's on the floor is not going to move here. But the right hand is going to grab onto your left ankle. So untwist yourself, straighten the legs, and the right hand threads through to that left ankle. Or wherever you can get. Maybe the left knee. Wherever it can get. So you're kind of threading your arm through. And you're kind of looking under that left armpit. Breathing in for 3. And out for 3. In for 3. And out for 3. Really try to feel the breath into that left rib, that left lung. And then place both hands on the floor in between. Rise up onto your tiptoes and jump your feet together into a low squat. Bring your arms in front. And then from here, you're going to come up to balance on tiptoes. And then gently down. Keep a firm, steady drishti all the way up. If you've got any dodgy knees, you can just go a little bit down. Otherwise, go down as far as you're able to. And up. Balancing. And gently down. Squeezing the thighs together, coming up. And down. And up. One last time, coming down. Place the hands on the floor, and this time you're going to just straighten your legs back into down dog. Widen your stance a little, and you're going to bring that left leg on the outside of that left hand. So stepping forward, left foot on the outside. So remember, you're coming onto the side of that foot, so drop the left knee out to the left, to the side, so that the sole of the foot is off the floor. Your big toe is off, your little toe, side of the little toe is on. Both hands in between. Lift the breastbone, lift the head, lift the chin, so you're stretching and opening the front of the neck. Now, open out your mouth really wide, so you're stretching your facial muscles. And let your tongue stick out. Your tongue stick out. Your eyes look in the back of your head. And you breathe. Lift that chest. Lift the breastbone. And then come back onto the sole of the foot. And then stretch it out and turn around the other way. Place that hand back down, turn the back foot in and rotate the opposite direction. So left arm is in the air, and then just take that left arm behind you as far as you can. Look towards the ceiling, turn your head to the left. Turn your ribs to the left and rotate as far away from the floor as you can. So remember, the hand that's on the floor, the right hand is going to stay in position. And this left hand is going to grab onto the right ankle. So we're going to untwist, keep the legs wide, turn to the side, thread that left hand through to the right ankle, or as close to the right ankle as you can get it. And then try to use that right hand, pulling against that right shin, right ankle, and try to twist your ribs to the right. Look towards the ceiling, under that right armpit. Inhaling for 3. And exhaling for 3. And then bring both hands in between. Rise up again onto tiptoes and jump together. Take the hands off and then coming all the way up. Bring your hands together above the head, and you're just going to squeeze those inner thighs, tuck that tailbone under, and keep both arms either side of the ears. You're going to breathe in. As you exhale, send your hips out to one side and then side bend. To your left. Inhaling for 3. No twisting of those hips. Headlamps on those hip bones, shining their high beams forward. Same for the shoulders, so keep your ears, keep both arms attached to each ear so there's no gap between ear and arm. And breathe into that top rib. Feel the stretch between your armpit all the way down to your waist. Get as low as you can without any spinal twist. And then slowly coming up. Inhale, reach up tall. Squeeze the glutes, push your hips forward. And then make sure there's no twist. Stretching both arms. Try to keep your elbows straight here. And breathe into that top rib. Inhaling for 3. And exhaling for 3. Long, slow in-breath. And slow, deep out-breath. Slowly coming up. And release. So come to the front of the mat. Into Utkatasana, chair pose, fierce pose. And a breathe in. As you exhale, sitting back down on the chair and lifting those arms up. So you want a diagonal line from the hip through to the shoulder, through to the hand. If you feel you're hunching, or your back is rounding, then widen your arms a little further and drop the arms down a little more. That will make it easier. Okay, you want a neutral pelvis here, sit back down, much as you can. Shoulders down, away from the ears. Core pulled in tight. Take a few more breaths here. And the only thing that you're going to move is your left leg. It's going to step back into warrior one. You can bring the hands together if you wish, or you can have them apart if you feel you're hunching or bending the elbows. That front knee, that right leg is forward. So make sure that the knee isn't rolling in over that big toe, push it out over that little toe. And then that back foot slightly turned in, so you're pulling this right hip back and pushing that left hip forwards. Inhaling for 3 and exhaling for 3. Left hand goes back onto that left leg into reverse warrior. As you do the reverse warrior, make sure you don't unlunge. So keep that front knee forward. Ideally that front thigh is parallel to the floor. Inhaling for 3 and exhaling for 3. Pulling up that back kneecap, keeping that little toe on that back foot on the mat. 2 more breaths and keep the leg position. We're coming into Parsvakanasana. The legs don't move. The top hand just rests on the thigh. Bottom arm reaches. So you can use this elbow to push that knee out to the side. Otherwise, this hand comes down onto your block or onto the mat. And you twist your ribs away from the floor, looking under that left armpit. Inhaling for 3 and exhaling for 3. Two more breaths. The legs stay the same, but this top arm is going to go behind your back, and the fingertips of that left hand just reaches into the crease of that right hip. Now we release that underneath arm. We're still in Parsvakanasana, just different arm position. So that right arm is up in the air and the palm is facing up to the ceiling. Inhaling for 3 and exhaling for 3. Two more breaths. And then this hand is just going to come behind the ear. And we're going to hop the back foot in. Release this arm. Hop the back foot in. And lift it. We come to balance. Softness in that right knee on the standing leg, so you're not locking it out. Keep the balance. We're going to bend the back knee and we're going to come to tree. So bringing that foot in. Now you can have the big toe on the floor, on the calf, or you can have it right up. If you want to hold onto the foot, you can do. Otherwise, hands are in Anjali Mudra. And you have a nice, steady drishti. Alternatively, you can bring this foot up to the opposite hip. Same arm behind the back, grabbing onto the foot, and the other arm is in the air. Inhaling for a count of 3, and exhaling for a count of 3. Nice steady drishti. Keeping your eyes focused on one spot. Keep that breathing going. Even if you put your leg down, keep the breath going. Stay focused on the drishti. And then gently release. Coming back to same thing, opposite side. So back to Utkatasana. Shoulders down, arms long, pelvis in neutral. And again, focusing on that breath. You're going to feel the stretch in your Achilles down at the bottom. A little bit of work for the glutes and the quads. So again, your body's going to remain in the same position, but this time you're going to step back with the right leg. So now we come into Warrior One. So again, that back foot, make sure it's not completely turned out to the side, otherwise it rotates the hip. So turn that foot in a little so you can push that back hip forward and pull that front hip back. So your body is as square as it can be. Back hip forward, front hip back. Rotate the shoulders so your hips are square, your shoulders are square. Your drishti, looking up towards the thumbs. Inhaling for 3 and exhaling for 3. Right hand goes onto the back of the right thigh into reverse warrior. Again, as you stretch that arm down the leg, make sure you don't unlunge as you do that. So keep that nice lunge. Looking up towards the ceiling. Keep your legs in this exact same position. Come into Parsvakanasana. Either just resting that hand on that thigh and stretching that right arm up in the air. So you want a diagonal straight line, ankle, knee, hip, shoulder, through to the ear, through to those fingertips. And then again, make sure that this front knee doesn't roll in over that big toe. Option to put your hand on a block or on the floor. Turn your ribs away from the floor. Look under that right armpit towards the ceiling. Drop that right shoulder away from the ear. Regulate the breath, nice and steady. In for 3. And out for 3. Keep your legs in the same position. Move this right arm behind your back and bring the hand into the crease of that left hip. Left arm goes in the air, palm facing up to the ceiling. Inhaling for 3 and exhaling for 3. Two more breaths. Then you're going to bend this hand, left hand behind the ear, release this other hand from behind your back. And you're going to jump, hop in, straighten up. And you're going to lift that leg up in the air. That standing leg slightly soft. And you're going to bend the back leg and you're going to come into tree, whatever variation you wish. Breathing in for 3 and breathing out for a count of 3. Pushing the crown of the head up towards the ceiling, drop your shoulders down. And push the knee out to the side and tuck that tailbone under. Inhaling for 3. And exhaling for 3. Two more breaths. And then gently release. Step to the front. Coming down again. Reach these arms up. And then push the arms behind you and rise up onto tiptoes. Open the collarbones, open the chest and squeeze those shoulder blades back and down towards each other. Keep the hands apart. Inhale, release. Heels come down. And then exhale, rising up. Open the chest and shoulders and draw those shoulder blades back and down, connecting those mid-back muscles. Release those heels, sink down. And again, rising up onto tiptoes. And as you draw those shoulders back and squeeze those mid-back muscles towards each other, try not to pop your ribs out. Keep that core engaged, navel tight. And release. Coming into Parivrita, Utkatasana. Twisting to your right. Okay, so the knees are together. Make sure that left knee isn't coming any further forward than your right knee. Make sure your butt isn't up here and your head's down. So you want to drop the butt low and lift the head high. Neutral pelvis, so you're not doing a cat stretch. And then press this top arm, the hand down into the bottom arm. And as you push it down, lift your torso off your thighs, so you're not resting on the thighs. Keep the shoulders down, look behind you. Keep this position, slide the left leg back. Coming into Parivrita Parsvakanasana. Either hands can stay here, or you can add in a bind, one arm underneath the leg and the other arm behind you. And looking over that right shoulder. Inhaling for 3. And exhaling for 3. Now you're going to straighten both legs. Coming into Trikonasana. If you want to keep the bind, you can keep the bind. Otherwise, Parivrita Trikonasana, opposite arm to leg. So right leg is forward, left hand on the floor, rotating your ribs and your head to the right. Make sure you're not hip hitching on that right side. So I'm going to push that right hip back so the waist is nice and long on that right hand side. Inhaling for 3 and exhaling for 3. And going to stay on this side. Just move that left hand a little further forward and come up onto the ball of the right foot, or the left foot rather, and then bend that right knee and lift that back leg off the floor. Padottanasana, revolved half moon. So right leg on the floor, left hand on the floor, and left leg in the air. Twisting your body. Pushing out through that back heel. And then bend that back knee. If you can, opposite hand grabs the foot. Come up onto your fingertips. Soften this right knee and see if you can actually stand up. And come into dancer, but it's opposite hand to leg. And gently release. Whew. Okay, we've got that on the other side. So, going back to Tadasana, and then bending down, bring the hands into Anjali Mudra, into prayer pose, and now we're going to rotate to the left. So, right elbow on the outside of that left knee. Make sure that the hips and the knees don't twist. So pull that right hip back, right knee back, so the knees are flush. Press the top hand onto the bottom hand to lift that torso off your thighs. Head should be higher than your butt. Pelvis is in neutral, so you're not hunching. Shoulders are down, away from your ears. And look behind you. Go to the breathing. In for 3 slowly. And out for 3 slowly. Right leg, stepping back into Parsvakanasana. If you want to take it easy, you can drop that knee down onto the mat if you prefer, otherwise knee stays off. Either hands in prayer pose, or you can thread through behind you and bind. Looking over that left shoulder. Two more breaths and you're going to come into Revolved Triangle. So you're going to just bring that back foot in a little bit. You can keep the bind if you wish, otherwise you can release it into 2 straight arms. Remember, hand can go on the shin, or on the floor on the inside of the big toe, or on the outside of the little toe. Pushing that left hip back and the right hip forwards. Really pulling those shoulders back. Either looking up towards the ceiling, or if that's too much on your neck, just look towards the front foot. Couple more breaths and we're going to come into Revolved Half Moon. So that hand that's on the floor moves in front of the foot. You lift the back heel off the floor. Soften that front knee, take the weight forward. And come into Padottanasana, Revolved Half Moon, lifting that right leg up in the air. Pushing out through that back heel. Bending that back knee if you can. Reach around and grab the front of the foot. Look towards the floor, soften that left knee. Come onto the fingertips and slowly coming up. It's like your dancer pose, but opposite arm to leg. Left hand on that right foot. Gently release. Well done. Inhale, and the arms up. Exhale, hands down, head down. Inhale, bend the knees, look up. Exhale, step or jump. Chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Inhale, lift that right leg up in the air. Stretch it. That'll open out that left hamstring. Then bend the knee and step through into Anjaneyasana, low lunge. Lift the arms up. Option to drop that back knee down onto the mat. Otherwise, lift the back knee, pushing that back heel away. Two more breaths before we come into pyramid pose, Parsvakanasana. The hands on the floor, straighten both legs, and then just walk that back foot in a little so you can get that back heel on the floor. Push this front hip back and the back hip forwards. Feel free to keep your hands here, or on a block, or on the shin. Otherwise, you clasp the hands behind, and we're going to lift the arms up and over. Opening out the chest and the shoulders. Release the hands and sweep into Padottanasana. Turn the feet in, turn the hands out. Turn your head to the right. Lift the right arm off the floor and rotate your ribs to the right. At the same time, just turn that left foot out to the left, to the side, and see if you can twist a little further. And you'll feel the stretch a little bit more in that left inner groin. Don't worry about if the pelvis rotates a little here. Try to twist a little more. And then gently release. Turn that foot back in. Turn the head to the left. Take that left hand off. Rotate your ribs to the left. Turn out the right foot to the right. So you feel the stretch in the right inner thigh this time. Twisting those ribs to the left, looking towards the ceiling. And then reach that hand down. Bend both knees and turn your knees out to the side so you're in Balasana. Push those knees out wide. Push the hands together. Push the elbows out. Push the head up to the ceiling. I want to have a neutral spine. Draw those shoulder blades away from the ears. Regulate your breath. In for 3. And out for 3. Now you can either stay in this variation of Balasana, or you can come up onto tiptoes, bring the heels together off the floor, knees come out to the side. Slow, steady breathing. Two more breaths. And then we're going to close those knees together. Turn the body. Come into Anjaneyasana on the left side. So step back, right leg. Arms coming up. Option to drop your knee down onto the mat to make it easier if you wish. Otherwise, pushing that back heel backwards. Keep those shoulders away from the ears and keep the elbows straight. Inhaling for 3. And exhaling for 3. Get those arms up, Michelle. That's better. Two more breaths. Place the hands down. Straighten both legs. Hop that back foot in just a touch. Make sure the back foot isn't turned out to the side because you want those hips forward. Turn it in slightly but keep the heel down. Push that back hip forward, front hip back. Coming into pyramid pose. Parsvakanasana. Either keep the hands here or they go behind the back. Up and over. Gently release, turn to the side, coming into Padottanasana. Okay, so we're going to take opposite hand to leg, okay? So opposite hand to ankle or wherever you can get. And then you can just put the other hand just on your back. But if you want to take this just that little bit further, we can bind. So this is your basic version. Hand to ankle or shin or wherever you can get it, other hand on that sacrum area. If you want to add in the bind, just advise you to bend the knee a little. Opposite elbow, turn your hand, thread it through, and the other hand goes behind the back to bind. Otherwise, just keep one hand on the ankle, one hand on the sacrum. And again, bend the knee to get the elbow round, and then use this hand to help push that arm through and underneath. Gently release, back in the center. So now we go the opposite direction. So again, Opposite hand to ankle, other hand on your sacrum. Otherwise, bend your knees a little bit just to get this initial bind. So it's opposite elbow to knee. And then this hand comes through. So use the other hand to help push it through. You turn the arm, push it through, and then you put the other hand behind the back and clasp your hands together. Then you straighten the knees. Looking behind you. Otherwise, just keep the hand on the ankle and one hand on your back and twist your body towards the ceiling. And then coming back to the floor, back to Balasana. Now you can stay in Balasana, or you can come into Eka Padottanasana, one-legged Balasana. So if you prefer to stay here, just stay here. Otherwise, you're going to bring your feet together. I'll show you from the side. Bring your feet together. So you're in a squat, and then you're going to extend that right leg out in front, and you're holding onto that right foot with both hands. And if you're in one-legged Balasana, you can keep the left hand, you can keep both hands on the foot, or you can keep the left hand on the foot and release that right arm out to the side. And then gently release. And bend. If you're still in this variation, that's fine. Or of course, you can also go into this variation. Otherwise, you do the other leg. So you extend this time, left leg in front. And again, you can hold it with both hands, or opposite arm to leg, and the other arm comes out to the side. So you've got one hand, one leg. Otherwise, you can just stick with both hands on the leg. Whatever feels right for you. And then gently we can come to sitting. All right. So stretching out. So you've got one leg straight and the other knee bent. Coming into Padottanasana. So you're going to reach forward, same hand as the leg, going to reach for the toes, try to get that pincer grip, 2 forefingers and the thumb around that big toe. Otherwise, just hold on to the shin or wherever you can reach from. If you can manage to hold on to the foot, then you're going to bend this elbow, and you're kind of going to use this elbow to push against the knee. And as it pushes against the knee, you're going to twist your ribs away from the floor. So you turn the ribs away from that straight leg. Look towards the ceiling and lift this top arm up, or if you can reach the toes without twisting towards the leg. So you want the opposite. Rotate your belly, your ribs, your head away from the mat. And you feel a stretch from the armpit down to the waist. Inhaling for 3 and exhaling for 3. gently release. Let's release this leg. So we've got 2 straight legs now. I'm going to flex the feet, so pushing out through those heels, coming into Padottanasana. So reaching those arms forward is a stretch for the inner thighs. If you're happy staying here, stay up here. Otherwise you might get your elbows on the floor. Or you can reach those arms forward again, just to wherever you can manage, maybe getting the chest or the forehead towards the floor. And trying to keep your back as flat as possible. So you're not hunching the spine. Try to lift the breastbone up, keeping your back flat. Or you can put your arms out to the side if you wish. Keep breathing. And then gently coming up. So we've got one more pose today. And I'll show you 2 variations of it. One remains seated. The other is from a lunge position. So you're going to bend your knee. And you're going to hook the crease of your knee over your shoulder. So you're going to get hold of the foot and then just bring that leg, the lower leg, over your upper arm. So this other arm is bent out to the side. It's going to act like a table, like a shelf. Otherwise, if it was straight, the leg would just fall down. So we lift the leg up. Yeah, we kind of hook it over our shoulder and then we put the arm down. So the elbow is bent, okay? So then we take hold of the big toe, if we can, with the opposite hand. Otherwise, you can maybe just hold on to the heel or the ankle or the shin. And we try to straighten the leg. Now, as we straighten the leg, it might only go so far. Don't force it straight. As we straighten it, we turn away. So we're looking under the armpit, and the leg attempts to straighten. Now, this is variation 1. Now, you can just stay here if you wish. But variation 2 is exactly the same. But this leg is off the floor, okay? So, you start in a lunge. It's the same thing. We've got to thread that arm through, place our hand on the floor. Yeah? So this hand is here. I now got to get the weight onto this hand, so I've got to lean back until this foot can come off the floor. Then it's the same thing. I take the foot and I start to stretch. The elbow is slightly bent because again the leg is kind of resting on it, it's just slightly bent. Or even if you just got to here, or even if you just got to here, that's good enough. Okay? I'm going to try on the other side. So legs are wide. And we're going to just hook that leg over the shoulder as best we can. And so there's just that lower leg rests on that upper arm. And the left, this elbow here is bent. Either hold on to the shin or the ankle or the heel, or if you can grab the big toes, do. And then as we straighten that arm, we turn away from that leg and we look under the armpit. If you want to try the more advanced version, you can just push up from here into that lunge and take hold of the foot. And then gently release. Okay. Just stretch the legs out. Reaching up. Reaching forward. Coming into a nice easy forward bend. Pushing the crown of the head towards those toes. Releasing those sit bones behind you. And drawing shoulders away from the ears. Try to flatten the spine as much as you can. Toes up towards the ceiling. And breathing slowly into the sides and into the back of the ribs. And then gently release. Slowly make your way down to the floor. And bring that right knee in towards your chest. Take that left hand across that right knee and take the right knee over to that left side. Turn your head to the right. So opening out that lower back, opening the facet joints in that lumbar spine. And then untwist, bring that same leg back to center, take the right hand off the floor, hold on to the sole of that right foot, come into Ananda, Balasana, half happy baby, pushing that right knee down towards the mat. Opening out those hips, groins on that right hand side, pushing out through that left heel, trying to keep that left knee straight, trying to keep that left heel on the mat. Gently, if you can, keep hold of the heel and open out into Supta Padottanasana, Variation B, straightening that leg out on the diagonal. You can put that left hand on that left hip to prevent the pelvis from rolling to the right. If it's difficult to hold on to that right heel, hold on to the right calf or the right thigh. Slowly release. And I bring that left knee in. Right hand on the outside of that left knee and rotate that left knee to the right, trying to get it as close to the floor as you can, turning your head to the left. Untwist, bend that knee, sole of the left foot towards the ceiling, left hand pushes down against that sole of the foot. Coming into half happy baby, push out through that right heel, try to keep that right knee straight. Get that left knee as close to the floor as you can. And then start to straighten that left leg. You might again have to hold that right hip down, pushing that right hand down so the pelvis doesn't rotate to the left. And then gently release that leg down. Stretch those arms into Savasana. Allowing the body to just melt and sink into the floor. Observing your breath. The rise and fall of your chest and abdomen. Feeling any energy created within the body. Maybe a sense of openness, space and length within the body after your practice. And just observe how you feel mentally, physically and emotionally. And gently bend the knees and roll onto your side into a fetal position, just relaxing all efforts now. Opening the eyes slowly. And that top arm on the floor, tuck your chin into the chest and slowly in your own time, keeping the head down, make your way up to sitting. Taking a few breaths here, hand on the abdomen, hand on the ribs, eyes are closed. Just nice, long, slow, deep breathing into the belly. Inhale. Pushing your hands away and exhale, hands come back in as you push the air out of the body. Inhale again and exhale, and one last time, breathing in And exhale. Opening the eyes. Namaste.